Hey, Mr. Fritz here. Let's talk about the Delta Math practice problems that you're going to be doing for reducing radicals. Just want to give you an idea about how this works so that you know what it's asking you to do. Here we want to go step by step to reduce the radical given to us. And so basically what that means is we're going to split it up into two radicals, just like you saw before, but we want one of the radicals to be the largest perfect square possible that goes into 288. So what I'm going to do over here on the side is I'm going to write the number 288, and I'm just going to list out factors of 288. I know that it's divisible by 1, so that's kind of an easy one. I also know it's divisible by 2 since it's even. That's 2 and 144. And actually, I can stop right here because it looks like 144 is going to be the biggest perfect square that I can pull out of this thing. If you forget your perfect squares, I've put a chart of perfect squares up here for you to kind of look at, and right here is that 144. So since I found that 144, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna look for any more ways I could divide 288 because this will be the biggest one I can take out. So that means that the square root of 288 is going to equal the square root of 144 times the square root of 2. So what I'll do over here is I'm going to type in this square root 144, and I'll type in this square root 2. I'll try it, and that worked out. At this point, you'll notice here that now I have simplified that perfect square radical, and then I have something still in the radical. That 144, that does reduce down to the square root of 144, and that's 12. And then the square root of 2 does not reduce, so that's just 2. So this is going to be 12 square root of 2. I submit my answer. Yes, and I got that green check mark. Let's do one more just to make sure we have this down pat here. So let's take the square root of 240. And what I want to do is I want to find the factors of 240. And I can actually make my life a little bit easier by dividing by perfect squares. Since I'm interested in perfect squares that go into 240, let's use this perfect squares chart to see if they are factors. I want to see if 1 or 4 or 9 or 16, if those are factors of 240. So I know that 1 is divisible by 240. Let's find out if 4 is divisible by 240. And if I'm not sure, I can use the calculator right in the Delta Math program. Divide 240. Let me just type it in so you can see what I'm doing here. 240 divided by 4. And that does go into it, so that's good. So I know one perfect square goes into this thing, but I want the largest perfect square. And in fact, if I were to type in 4 and 60 and try this, that does simplify down to 2 times the square root of 60. But now I can simplify this even further. So really what I should do is now I've simplified to 2 root 60. Now I want to look at to see if 60 breaks down any further. So again, let's look to see if 4 goes into 60. Let's try 60 divided by 4. That's equal to, oops, that's 6. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So it looks like 4 also goes into 60. So what I'll do then at this step is I'm going to break down the square root of 60 into the square root of 4 times the square root of 15. And I'll try that. That works, and so I get to the next step where I simplify the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 15 stays the square root of 15. I'll try that. Next up, I multiply 2 times 2. That's an easy one. That's 4 times the square root of 15. And now it says I'm done here. I've simplified this completely. Let's hit submit. I am sure. And we get that green check mark. So here's how you can work through this thing. And it even tells you what the fastest path is. If I use the square root of 16 and pulled that out, that would have been the quickest way to do this. I took a slower path, but still works. So there you go.